really there's nothing to say about it. It is what it is. And I get various comments, I get various letters. The nasty ones I just delete, the other ones I leave up. But I had this today because this was a comment today, and the man says that he had a couple of thoughts. He said, I only have one thought about your age gap. So I'm going to read it to you because it seems to reflect the concern of whoever is the aged partner is going to worry about who's going to be left. But then this is a fairly common subject between people who have been together a long time, too little time, too much time, all about time, isn't it? So, what did he have to say? Terence, I have only one thought about your age gap, and it is the same worry I have in my relationship with my smaller age gap of about 17 years. Unless something bad happens, you are going to die before the woman you love, and if all is equal, your young bride is going to lose her love at still a relatively young age, and could then be, in theory, without you for a very long time. It doesn't get a whole lot better than this. I am 50 and my Filipino girlfriend now is 33, and we've known each other since 2011 and been together with me moving to the Philippines in May 2013, so I have been here 5 years. We plan to get married and maybe have 1 or 2 children, but always there is that nagging voice in my head about the fact that more than likely I will die well before her, and I guess I feel guilt that it is the most likely outcome. We are very happy, and I know I am the luckiest guy I know, but I just wonder, Terence, how you deal with those thoughts. To tell you the truth, I try not to deal with thoughts like that. Here's what I told him. My friend, today we were with a 3-month-old baby, just out of a 5-hour surgery on her spine, who is now fighting for her life, and a 28-year-old man who goes under the knife tomorrow to have his right leg amputated right up into the groin, after which the surgeon has given him about 12 months to live. We're all given time to live without knowing when our time is up. So I try to serve others and think about myself as little as possible. You're forgiven for maybe thinking my answer can't be true. It can't be real. But I no longer focus on self like I did in the past. And I am now at peace, a happier man, and more fulfilled than I have ever been. You can choose to live a life in fear or in spite of it. The choice is yours. And I've never been more sincere or real about anything. And this is the subject of many a video that we've done. And in these kind of talks, it's now 10:15, in these kind of talks, I guess a late night meandering, the object is to actually search for those deep hidden fears that we all live with and try to find a way to deal with them. Right, now, here's the what I think is the real fact. Here's the nugget of truth that I think runs through this. You don't deal with fear. The fear is always there. So, what are you going to do? Are you going to live in fear of something that may or may not happen? Now, I've said this before. My brother passed when he was 50-something. He was a man who lived life to the full. He was loved by people. Just one of those wonderful guys, and not just because he was my brother. He was an enviable guy. When he died, which was very sudden, he had talked about it with his wife, and he and his wife had said that they didn't want to be hooked up to pipes and cables and IV drips and kept going by any machine. When it hit, that was it. So, he was dead before he hit the ground. That was at 50. Now, am I going to live in fear of that happening to me? Well, it's a little bit too late for it to happen to me at 50, isn't it? Right, so certainly I won't have that particular worry. But where is the joy in worrying about when you're going to die? Here's the fact about dying. Don't worry about it, because it will happen without your help. Now, is there a point at which you win over fear? I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. Every day we get up, we are in fear about something, and that's a fact. Now, what are you afraid of? You might be afraid of spiders, you might be afraid of snakes, you might be afraid of rats. I don't know. You might be afraid of bunny rabbits, for all I know. We all have our fears. Now, fear, what's the nature of fear? These fears that we live with, we generate these fears. We generate themselves. We're there working at it. Now, I'm sitting in my house. It's now 10:20. Now, out there are pythons, there are spiders, there are snakes, there are poisonous snakes which we've beaten off in the past. I might break my leg when I'm walking out there in the hills, when I'm thinking I'm so immortal, and I lie there until I die, because nobody's going to find me, because they won't know where the hell I am. Shall I live in fear of that? Shall I seriously say to myself, I was going to go out for a walk tonight, but I might break my leg, so I think I'll stay in. Shall you fear dying before someone you love? You know what I fear? I fear that I might be the one that's left alone. I outlived a lot of people. I outlived my brother. I outlived my mother. I outlived my father. And I outlived a lot of friends. And I'm still here. I'm not going to worry about that, and I'm wondering why you should. I have friends, dear friends, that I really love and respect, and they have this fear. It won't go away. There's the bad news. If the fear that you have will not go away, the only thing that's good is that you may learn to live in spite of it. In spite of the fact that there are spiders, lions, tigers and bears. Wasn't that what Dorothy lived in fear of? You can't win against fear, because fear is something that you have generated. It's your fear. It's not mine. A friend of mine said, I can't face the idea that I might come there and there are snakes. I know another expat who built his house up on stilts because he was afraid that snakes were going to get into his house. You know what? Snakes have been a very, very clever species since Adam and Eve. Remember, we've got something to thank them for if you're religious. You're never going to beat the fear. You have to get up and live your life anyway. So, whatever your fear is, here's the bad news, it's not going away. But, I don't know, it's like listening to a noisy radio just down in the next apartment. They're not going to turn the noise down. So, what you have to do is, you have to turn your thoughts up. They're not going to change for you. The fear that you're generating, that you are fueling, is not going away. I'm probably labouring this point, but so many people live in fear. I lived a very full life. I've been very privileged and spoiled to have led a great life. Has it been a totally happy life? No. I lived 8.5 years, 8 years of which I hated in the army. But in spite of that, I learned to play the trombone and be a trained, pretty proficient musician, which allowed me to live a life that had a lot of admiration in it, which we all think a great deal of. That's why we follow celebrities, that we may touch the hem of their garment and get something from it. What do you think getting an autograph is about? It's touching the hem of his garment. Can you give me your autograph? And then you've stolen a little bit of his persona, because you've now got his signature. And he's probably calling you a friend. Are you? No, I don't think so. He's forgotten who you are. But you can't forget who you are, and you're not this big lump of ice that's in your gut right now about something or other. You are you. And you can live in spite of the fear. Think about it. Nobody was ever brave in the face of something that they were not afraid of. It's when we do something in spite of being afraid that we learn courage. And you can do that. So, my friend who has said, what are your thoughts on this? How do you deal with it? I stopped thinking about myself. I've had a life which has been all about me, because I sought to be famous about something. Famous as a trombone player. I wanted to be the best trombone player in the world. I quit on that, as you know. I wanted to be a famous singer. That never happened either. I experienced, in both cases, I experienced some great success and some great joy and happiness. Did I make it to the top? In many ways I did. And then I went on to something else. And I found other things which I loved doing, and I perfected skills in doing them. So I had a lot of success in my life, and a lot of praise and compliments, and if you like, adulation to an extent. And I was afraid. And I still had those successes, and I still had that, but I focused a lot on myself. And in spite of all of the successes that I had, and I had a lot, I was never as fulfilled as I am now. Now, fulfillment is a total other thing. Fulfillment, fulfilled. Look at the word. Fulfilled. Filled, full. And right now, I have a wonderful family. I have a wonderful wife. I have a wonderful life in which I think little about myself and more about those who are less fortunate than me. Mostly about the kids that we help. Someone asked Beth, how many children do you have? And I answered that. I said, well, 100 plus at the church and none yet in our house. And we hope to have one of our own, and we'll face whatever comes. So, you have the choice to live a life of fear. You may consider that you are being a realist. You will walk along the edge of a cliff and you might fall off. That's your choice. But it's your choice to not walk on the edge of the cliff and just pull in a couple of yards. It's your choice, and you do have the choice. So, instead of writing to me and asking about the fear, look at the wonderful things that this man that I just read to you about has told us. He's been here in the Philippines since 2012, I think. Or was it that he has known her? My computer has gone off now. It's the phone, so it goes on. I can't pull it up. But he met someone that he loves madly, that is actually feeling guilt because he might die first. Oh boy. But look what he's got. They're going, after all this time, they know each other very well, love each other very, very much, are going to get married and have maybe 1 or 2 children. And he's living in the Philippines and happy. Good God, what have you got to be afraid of? That you might not live as long? Just think about it. How many people can say they've got what you have? And now, the thing that you're afraid of is that you have it and you might lose it? It can't work. It's not a workable solution. It's like getting into a car and driving as if you're going to crash because you're afraid of doing that. Well, you can improve your skills and become a better driver, and that would be a good way of handling that particular fear, but you wouldn't keep your car locked up in the garage so that you don't crash into anything. So, you have the choice. No matter where you are, no matter who you are, no matter what you are, you have the choice of dealing with fear as an ever-present companion who will make you rise to great feats of courage. Accept the companion. Accept it as a friend. Say, this will make me stronger. I never heard anybody could actually accurately saying this about the Chinese. They always attribute everything to the Chinese. Doesn't always seem so clever to me. But they say that anything